Hari Om, good evening, and a very warm welcome to all my dear friends and sadhaks. Come, let's pray together. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya sahana vavatu sahano bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. To the Almighty, we offer our humble salutations to seek His grace, His mercy, His blessings, love, compassion, forgiveness, Shraddha, Bhakti, Jnana, and Vairagya. We beseech in the Lord to grant us these qualities and make this knowledge of self-realization dawn upon us and become a living reality in all our lives. Our Sastanga pranams to the entire Guru Parampara. Om Tat Sat. Today, we are on the Divine Discourse number 163, the 27th of November 2020, Sharvarinama Samvatsara Dakshinayana, Sharadrutu Kartika Masa, Shukla Paksha, Dwadashi, Ashwini Nakshatra, Vyati Pata Yoge Balavakarane. On this auspicious day of Friday and auspicious time of the evening, Naham Karta Hari Karta, Hari Preranaya Hari Prityartham. Whatever is happening in our life is all due to the divine grace of the Lord, we completely surrender unto Him and seek His blessings to move in the right direction. Om Tat Sat. A very warm welcome to each one of you once again. So, today we are finally going to study BHAJA GOVINDAM. Now, let's talk about this text initially. How did this happen? And then we'll go to the introductory verse. BHAJA GOVINDAM came up, as you call it, apparently or incidentally. Once our Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya, he along with his 14 disciples, he had been to the Ganges to take his bath and do his Arghya, Sandhya Vandanam. So after finishing all that, he was now returning back to the city of Varanasi, Benares. And there, on his way back, he sees an old person who is in his almost fag end of his life, who is studying Sanskrit grammar, where he was reciting Dukrung Karane. He heard that word. He said, what is this? A person who is almost one leg into the grave and he is learning Sanskrit grammar. For what? He was shaken by this incident. He says, yes, this is one person where I see in front of me who is doing such a big mistake. Like him, there are so many other people who do not know where they are going in life. They're just living life as it comes. And that is when he said, now I must teach the world, give a proper message, a befitting message, and that too with a blow. You know, when you're extremely angry, what do? You tell somebody. Once you tell, twice you tell, thrice you tell. If that fellow doesn't understand, doesn't listen, what you do is you give one hammer on the head. So this BHAJA GOVINDAM came up at that instance where he felt that now I should compose something and give to the world which acts as a mudgara, moha mudgara. Moha means delusion. Delusion means wrong understanding, not doing the right things in life, not knowing the right direction. So for omitting or removing moha from one's life, he said moha mudgara, which means it's a hammer. Like as you hit with a hammer, what is the force? He says, with that kind of a force, what he does is he composes beautiful 12 verses first, which are known as Dwadasha Manjarika. Dwadasha in Sanskrit simply means 12. Dashami is 10, Ekadashi is 11, and Dwadasha is 12. It simply means 12. So Dvadasha Manjarika Stotram he composes. And then he had 14 followers along with him. So he says, each one of you now you compose one. So in that flow, all the 14 followers, they also started composing a verse each. And there it came to 26. And then at the end, Bhagavan Shankaracharya was extremely pleased with his disciples. To bless his disciples and to all the ones who are seeking this knowledge and who want to follow this path now, he blesses in the last 4 verses. So that's how it became 30 verses. And the first verse is of course the Mangalacharana, which is, you can say it is a prayer, which is the BHAJA GOVINDAM, BHAJA GOVINDAM. That is the first verse. So that one verse plus the 30 verses. Totally now we have 31 verses in this BHAJA GOVINDAM. So what is he trying to say over here? He wants to lead a human in the proper path. You have crossed your limits, you have crossed your line. He wants to bring them back. And each and every verse is like that, a flower which is picked up from the dense forest. He has made a fine bouquet of all these 30 verses, 30 different flowers. And as you know, flowers are known for their tenderness, love, freshness, kindness, beauty, fragrance, warmth. So in the same way, he has put all these emotions, feelings, his guidance in a beautiful way in this BHAJA GOVINDAM. It is all the 30 stanzas are like a crap whip style. You take a whip and you say, chatak, that kind. There is no softness and there is no sort of delicate consideration here and there. He has hit below the belt, in other words. Why is that? He wants this message to go straight into one's head. Why did this kind of a acuteness or aggressiveness happen in this particular text? Was because he saw a person who is already 1 foot in the grave and who is in such an advanced stage of his life, he doesn't know what he is doing. He felt pity. And that's when he said, now I cannot tell this person in soft and kind words. And I won't be doing justice if I tell him in a soft manner. So that's how he goes aggressive on that. Particularly that old man and in general to the world. If say your house is on fire and fortunately let's say you're the first person who got to know that your house is on fire, then will you go and wake each one of them softly? Say you're going and waking up your father, let's say, Papa, Papa, and with a crescendo you're not going to increase your voice slowly and waste time. What you'll do, you'll straight shout. And even with that shouting, if somebody is not awake, what you'll go and shake him straight in a fierce manner. You will not slowly touch him and tap him and all that, because your house is already on fire. You don't have time to waste. Same is the situation in our lives. You may think you are young. You may think there is lots of time in our life to study all this. As they say, this is all retirement stuff. Not now. Now I've got to earn. I want to possess so many things. Name, fame, money, recognition. And when do you give time for all this? After retirement. This is not a retirement stuff. Reason is you don't know when a person will pass away. he talks about each and every aspect as he presents everything in a fine bouquet. In the same way, this is a bouquet of subtle and appropriate messages to a common householder. Of course, it applies to even a sannyasi also, but more to householders. So here and there you may feel, why is he talking like this, so harsh? Don't ever feel like that. He says, I am giving you in this way. This is my style, he declares initially itself. Okay. Now, let's take the first verse. This is basically the prayer. So I think we all know this BHAJA GOVINDAM prayer. So we'll all sing together and then we'll take up the meaning of the first introductory verse. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. Samprapte sannihite kale, samprapte sannihite kale, nahi nahi rakshati dukurum karane, nahi nahi rakshati dukurum karane. So it starts with prayer where he says, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja. 3 times he uses this Govinda. And what is the reason why this was used 3 times? So what he says here is, the first Govinda, he refers to his Guru. His Guru's name was Sri Govinda Padacharya. So he says, the first offering goes to his Guru. And then, when he says Govinda the second time, he says, Bhaja means seek or get. Second Govinda is to the Lord who represents this divine knowledge. So there he gives a message, seek this divine knowledge, which will lead you to self-realization. On that Lord, he offers a prayer. And the third time, when he says, Bhaja Govindam, it means, with this knowledge what you have gained, meditate and contemplate. So in the second mention of Govinda, it is Shravana. You have heard. Now, like I am speaking and you are hearing. This is the process of Shravana which is happening. You are just listening. And in the third Bhaja Govindam, he says, that Shravana what you have done, do manana and nididhyasana. Manana means clarify all your doubts, your queries, any sort of inhibitions you have on this, what you have listened to, clarify that. And then go to the next level, nididhyasana, where you meditate with that divine knowledge deeply and eventually make that divine knowledge, what you have learned and you have understood properly, into your self-knowledge, which means you have to experience what you have learned and understood. So this way, he says, first he offers a prayer. These 3 steps are extremely important. And here he talks about basically Guru. In fact, in this entire, during the study of these 30 verses, he also makes a mention of how there are so many kinds of spiritual seekers in this world who proclaim to be gurus, how they behave in fake manners. He talks about that also. So he says, Guru is somebody, Gu means darkness. Ru means the one who dispels darkness. Gukarastva andakarastu rukarastej uchyate andakara nirodhatvat gururitya vidhiyate. So the one who dispels the darkness of ignorance in your life, he is known to be a guru. That is very important. From whom you are learning and why is that person teaching? If that person is teaching for money and for other gains, then you have to be careful. This is something, it is divine knowledge. It is not in the materialistic world. So one says, be extremely careful about the person who is teaching, your guru. And then he talks about the knowledge listening and affirmation of that knowledge, and eventually making that knowledge become one with yourself. So here it's all about what are the worldly pursuits and actions we do in our daily life. Are they taking you towards self-realization? This question has to come to every human being. But that doesn't come. It is like if all what you are doing is for a living, then you should ask a question. Anybody comes and asks you, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? You already are doing so much. Why now you have gone into a third venture? He says, it's for my living. Then ask a question, then what is living for? If everything you do is for a living, then what ultimately is living for? As Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said, the sole purpose of a human life is to gain self-realization. There is no other purpose, especially when you are a human. And there they talk about various methods, like the process for self-liquidation or self-realization is classified about in 9 types. I'm just giving an idea. The first is Shravanam, listening to the divine knowledge. Then Kirtanam, singing the Lord's glory. So here it's a combination of bhakti. Smaranam, that is actually Mananam, where you are constantly thinking of what you have thought. Pada Sevanam, adoration at the feet of the Lord. This is a method of invoking more bhakti. Archanam, you are worshipping the Lord with divine Vedic hymns and mantras you have learnt. Vandanam, you are offering your salutations to the Lord. Dasyam, you are serving the Lord. As we learnt in Bhakti Yoga, you can work as service unto Him, unto the Lord. Dasyam. Next comes the 8th one is Sakhyam. You invoke the Lord as your friend. And the 9th is Atmanivedanam, is where there is a complete self-surrender of yourself to the Lord. So this way, when you are doing bhaja, meaning you are worshipping Govinda, Govinda again has got 4 important meanings. The first one is one who is the very essence of this entire creation. Second is one who protects the cattle in direct relationship, who protects the cattle or the essence in every living being. So first one is creation, second one is sustenance, third one is one who confers all the sense organs to be active in one's body. So he's given you life. And the fourth one is he who is the knower of all the Vedas and that supreme reality. So to such a Govinda, Bhaja Govindam, to such a Govinda, I am offering my salutations and prayers. So likewise, a disciple now, we have understood what is Bhaja. Bhaja means worship, service. To whom? To this Govinda who has got this fourfold qualifications. And how you can do it? In this 9 method process towards self-realization, what they have now explained to us. So likewise, now what you have to do? You constantly be in the service of the Lord. Now, in the third line he says, Samprapte sannihite kale nahi nahi rakshati dukurum karane. Now this is where he got a shock of his life. He says, what is this person doing? He is at the fag end of his life and he is learning grammar for what? He wants to now teach grammar and make some money out of it. That's all. Which means even at the fag end of your life, you are still focusing on the materialistic possessions and materialistic acquisitions of the world. When will you understand that there is something else for you to do and this is not your purpose? See, we only focus on crossing over our life. But what about crossing over death? There is so much of ignorance which we are not aware of at all. Now that has to be awakened. So this is like a springboard to dive into immortality. Now what has happened? That springboard has become a platform for gallows. We know only how to die, but we don't know to cross over death. And why do we need to do Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam? Why do we need to keep praying? So the Lord, as He has said, Anta kale chamameva smaran muktva kalevaram. In Bhagavad Gita, 8th chapter, 5th verse, He says, those who relinquish the body, remembering me at the moment of death, will come to me. He has very clearly made a promise. And He also says, this is most certain, and He adds to it, there is no doubt about it. Here, prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayaha nati asti na asti atra samshayaha, means there is no doubt about it. This is going to happen. But here there is a catch. What we need to understand here is anta kale cha. That word cha, which is there, that many people don't understand. They just feel okay at the last breath, if I just say Namo Narayanaya, Govinda or Rama, Krishna, God has said in Gita, He is going to take me to His abode. But that word cha means at the time of death and all along while you are living. It's not only at the time of death. This is what he means. Antakale cha. Antakala and cha, meaning rest of the time also you need to think about me. You need to worship. You need to remember me. So when this is the way you have to gain the Lord's abode, then unless and until you practice on a daily basis, moment to moment basis, how will you achieve at the fag end of the life? Fag end of the life, they say, when death is approaching, there is so much of fear, there is so much of anxiety, there is so much of commotion in your entire body. Each and every sense is withdrawing one by one. They say the pain at the time of death is equal to a sting of 1,000 scorpions at one go. At one stroke, if 1,000 scorpions sting, how painful it could be. So that is the kind of pain one experiences. And you mean to say, if a person who has never thought about God, or who has done it on a weekly basis, or on festival days, or on important occasions, you mean to say the thought of God will come to him? No chance. But the moment you are committed towards the Lord, this platform for gallows becomes a springboard to dive into immortality. It will be a great moment where you are going to embrace the Lord at the end of your life. That sting of the scorpions gets converted into the most affectionate and most wanted part of your life, enthralling situation of your life. That fear turns into joy. That anxiety turns into bliss. Just like you're eager to meet somebody very near and dear to you. And what happens when that person comes in front of you? Priya, Moda, and the ultimate stage is Pramoda. You will be in that stage of Pramoda. So by taking the Lord's name, what happens is one gets into that higher stage of bliss, which otherwise would have been the most dreadful stage of one's life. So he says, Anta Kalecha, remember this. That is one again reason I'm telling you, don't get into the pursuit of worldly things, of learning new things. Learn grammar, earn money, and do what? Now at one point, stop everything. Focus only and only on the Lord. Keep constantly saying, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. This is what message he gives over here. Enough of what you have done for the world. Now you move higher in knowing the Lord, becoming one with Him. And just even if you think that you're learning the scriptures, you're reading the scriptures, but he says that will not make you a Brahmana. Janmana jayate shudraha samskarat dvija uchyate veda patanat bhavet vipraha brahma janati iti brahmanaha. Nobody by birth, as we categorize, I am born into a Brahmin family, so I am a Brahmana. I am born into a Kshatriya family, I am a Kshatriya, and likewise the other two class. No, the Lord says, Janmana jayate, everybody is born as a Shudra by birth. And as the samskaras happen, the Shodasho samskara, the 16 samskaras which happen in one's life, then he gets a second birth, is upgraded. And as he learns the Veda Patanat, as he learns the scriptures, as he gets into the depth of our Vedic knowledge, then he becomes a Vipraha, a scholar, a knower of scriptures. And when does he become a Brahmana? Brahma Janati iti Brahmanaha. The moment he realizes that Paramatma, the Parabrahman, that is when he becomes a Brahmana. So what is the purpose of your life? Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. And move towards that Brahmanatva stage. Not in learning grammar or learning computers or learning something else and trying to make your life out of it. No, that is not your purpose of life. And it's also said you don't even need to know the scriptures also to become a Brahmana. Whatever little understanding you have, you go deep into it. You don't have to know anything by heart. You don't have to go into the very essence of the scriptures. Don't do that. You'll be wasting time only trying to become a Vipra. You'll never become a Brahmana. Whatever little you have understood, go deep into it. So you, by getting into learning worldly things, will never take you anywhere. Understand you are in an ocean of birth and death. While in an ocean, you are one day going to die, which you do not know when it is. But when the death comes, know what will take you to cross over death. That much knowledge you should have. And the sooner you get it, you are there and prepared, ready to face death. Until then, you are nowhere. There's a beautiful story to narrate this. This is about the olden times where people used small ferry boats to cross rivers to go from one place to another. So there was a pandita, a Vipra, who knew Sanskrit, who knew Shastras, so many other Puranas, who had gained a lot of knowledge. Okay, he sits into a boat. Now he is there, and then a fakir, a boatman, only two of them. Now he says, Swamiji, where do I take you? He says, take me to the other bank. So they start their journey. Now this Pandita is quite arrogant because he knows so many things about the Shastras, and also he asks the fakir, do you know Shastras? Have you any idea about the Shastras? The fakir says, Swamiji, I am an unpad. I am completely illiterate. When he says that, actually a wise person should understand that this particular sentence of his was good enough to show what kind of humility that person had, and accepting the fact of what is not there in him is always the first step towards progress. Listening to him, he says, you don't know Shastras? Arey, you have lost 25% of your life. It's gone waste. What is the use? You have not learned Shastras. Then the Panditji asked the fakir again, okay, at least do you know some mathematics, some accounts? Do you know something like this? The fakir says, Swamiji, what do I do learning accounts? Why, I don't need to maintain any account. For whatever I earn, that much is enough to survive for the day. So where will I write an account of what I have? Then the Panditji says, my God, you don't even know this simple accounts. 50% of your life is gone. Now what will the fakir say? He says, okay, whatever the Panditji is saying. He just nods his head and he is on his job, rowing the boat. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a storm sets in. And they are right in the middle of the river. Long way to reach the shore. And at that time, it's become so topsy-turvy. With that breeze, the whole boat is completely shaking up and down. Because now the river has become turbulent and rough. Now at this point, the fakir asks the Panditji, Swamiji, do you know swimming? Now, looking into this scene, that Panditji is already terrified, he's shivering, he's trembling. He said, no, Then the fakir says, you have lost 100% of your life. And the fakir jumps into the water and moves towards the shore. So, what is important? Death is something which is extremely, it is certain and most certain in one's life. When you know that this is one thing which is certain in life, have you done anything to encounter or meet or face death in the most appropriate manner? Is a question which we need to ask ourselves. So here, nowhere you must have seen Bhagavan Shankaracharya using such words. He says, Moodha. He says, you fool, you idiot. What are you learning in life? Learn what is useful at the time of death, because that will help you to cross over death. He says, wake up. Utho. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. So now in the next class, we'll take up more about how precious is our human life. After 84 lakh, in the sphere of 84 lakh species, after completing the entire 84 lakh, we get one chance as a human life. We will study as to how the Jiva from the Yamaloka comes towards this planet Earth and how we are born. This entire process we will study in our next class and learn the importance. What is that which is important in life and what is unimportant? This is where we need to have a clear-cut classification and know, oh, this is right, this is wrong, and take the right path and move ahead. So in this Markandeya Purana, we'll understand how this life came onto this earth. There is so much of meticulous planning which the Lord has done to give us a human birth. And we as fools, we are wasting it without knowing its worth. So let's understand the worth of human birth in our next class. It's like you have a huge Kohinoor diamond. You don't know its value. It's nice and shiny, quite big, serves well as a paperweight. Okay, keep it on the table as a paperweight. A gemologist or a person who knows the value of this diamond will never keep it like this or use it like this. This is what we have done to our life. So now, our life, which is equal to a Kohinoor diamond, how is it so valuable? Let's understand in the next class. Okay. Now we take up Shri Vishnu Sahasranama. So 4 verses we have completed. So today we'll take up the 5th verse. We'll first read the verse and then take up 3 divine names. Swayambhu Shambhuradityah Pushkaraksho Mahaswanaha Anadinidano Dhata Vidhata Dhaturuttamaha. The 37th divine name, Swayambhu. Swayambhu means the one who is Paripurna by himself, who is holistic by himself. When he is, even in an avatara, when he is born, he is Paripurna. While he is living, he is Paripurna. And while he exits the avatara, also he is Paripurna. So as you have this Ashloka, Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. So at every level The Purnatva is there. So because of that Purnatva, now here the Lord gets the name Swayambhu. And the 38th divine name is Shambhu. Here the word Sham means, it denotes bliss. One who gives happiness in life. So as you see these mantras, Om Shanno Mitra Sham Varunaha Shanno Bhavatvaryamam Shanna Indro Brahaspatihi Shanno Vishnu Rurukramaha. So everywhere you see that word Shan, Shan, Sham means give that bliss, give bliss, give bliss. So one who gives bliss to the jivas, so he gets the name Shambhu, because he has the quality of bestowing bliss on us. And the 39th word, divine name is Aditya. Now Aditya comes from Aditi and Kashyapa Maharishi are a couple, and to such a couple there are 12 children who are also known as Dwadashadityaru. So here the 12 children are Vivaswan, Aryaman, Pushan, Twashtru, Savitru, Bhaga, Dhata, Vidhata, Varuna, Mitra, Shakra and Urukrama. Likewise, there are 12 children. Now, these 12 children also represent each and every month of the calendar year. So one is Surya, one is Varuna, one is Mitra, Indra. So likewise, the last one, who is the Vamana Rupi, he is known as Vishnu, and he is also called as, since he is coming at the fag end, he is called as Aditya. So out of the 12 children, who is at the end, he gets the name Aditya. So to such a Lord, who is Swayambhu, Shambhu, Aditya, are divine and humble salutations. Now we'll chant Dhanvantari mantra 3 times together. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutakalashahastaya Sarvabhayavinashaya Sarvaroganivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutakalashahastaya Sarvabhayavinashaya Sarvaroganivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutakalashahastaya Sarvabhayavinashaya Sarvaroganivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. So to the Lord of Health, Dhanvantari, our humble salutations. Let's chant the concluding mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Together we offer today's divine discourse at the feet of the Lord as our prayer unto Him, as our love and devotion unto Him. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Idam Namama. Om Tat Sat. Our humble salutations to the entire Guru Parampara. Hari Om. We thank each one of you for being a part of this wonderful spiritual journey, and we look forward to seeing you again on Tuesday. Till then, please keep doing your manana, nididhyasana, and reading of the scriptures. Hari Om. Have a pleasant weekend. Thank you. Namaskar.